Mine went to prison.
Yes, and you said you...
It seems no matter where you go, people are hearing about Clairol's new herbal essences shampoo. Hearing about the all-natural botanicals, the organic herbs and pure mountain water.
I love it.
But what impresses the most is how much people love their hair.
Yes, yes, yes.
Could you bring me some of that shampoo?
New herbal essences, a totally organic experience.
The harsh South African sun causes more than 80% of premature skin aging, which is why you need the daily protection recognized by the Cancer Association of South Africa, Olay Complete Care. The only leading moisturizer with broad-spectrum UV protection, vitamin and mineral complex, and sheer moisture. Trust Olay and Cancer to give your skin everything it needs most to look its best.
They're the best of times, they're the worst of times, your teenage years. What are some of the issues South African teens are going through? What skills can they be taught? What can adults learn from our teenagers? 3 Talk this afternoon gets to grips with teenagers and, more importantly, life skills for them. I'll be on from 5:30 to 6:30. Do join me.
And in the latest weather update, a small American town is predicted to be on thin ice with approaching thunderstorms.
You know, I think Elena might suspect something.
Raging hormones.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
A person's body is his temple.
And a phenomenal cast, which is liable to blow you away. We recommend you tuck yourself in during The Ice Storm, tonight at 10, only on SABC3.
Well, hello.
Liz? Sherry, I'm marrying Liz. You gotta go, now.
Fine. But you and me, we're getting back together.
You look great.
Stop it.
What are we gonna do about Miss Boobalicious?
What will the answer be? It's All Relative, Wednesday at 8:31.
Go on, grill me.
What I'm going to do now is gently lift you onto the bed.
Oh, well, she's a bit off colour. Mind you, she just has had a rather large organ taken out of her body. Not for the first time either.
A show of bad taste in Men Behaving Badly, Wednesday night at 9:30.
Max vanished somewhere in the hinterland of Paraguay.
I can find her, sir.
Denied.
Then I quit.
Tom survives the crash, but where's Sarah?
I'm not going home until I find Sadiq. You don't forget the face of the man who almost tortured you to death.
What the hell are you doing in Paraguay?
I came here looking for Mac. How'd you get the Admiral's permission? I resigned my commission.
Is this the end? Jag, Thursday at 7:30 on 3.
It's Emily Trudeau, Judge Blakemore's clerk.
Were we having an affair? Yes.
Did your wife know about her?
Absolutely not.
The killer brought a towel with him to wrap around Ms. Trudeau's head when he brained her against the counter.
Professional. The fact that he vomited indicates that he doesn't have the stomach to be a pro.
A semi-professional hypocrite.
As a matter of fact, yes.
In other words, someone a jealous wife might hire in a pinch to whack her husband's mistress.
A woman scorned in Law and Order Criminal Intent, Thursday night, 8:31.
Smile, please. Arey, ek minute. Apune na. Bile.
This boy's a genius.
He's a local goon that enters the medical world. A place he neither belongs in nor believes in.
But a warning, he could cure you. Munabai, MBBS, Saturday at 10 on 3.
This is Equatorial Guinea, a tropical paradise. But for these alleged mercenaries, it is anything but. This footage is the only record of the captured men. Special Assignment goes behind the headlines to find the truth about the alleged coup and to see if these men will receive a fair trial. The coup, the men, and the war that shaped them in Special Assignment tonight at 9:30 on SABC3.
Hi and welcome from the evening team. I hope you're still on a high after the weekend and have recovered from your World Cup bid celebrations. If you still need a bit more R&R, you don't have to move a muscle for the next few hours at least, as we enter a brilliant Tuesday evening lineup. For one, we're joined by just about every young star in existence and a brilliant leading cast in tonight's movie, Ice Storm. Before we gloss over the day's news headlines, here's how it's all going to play out.
Highlights on 3. At 8:31, tempers flare in Law and Order.
Hey man, I'll take you anytime, anywhere.
Then at 9:30, investigative journalism with Special Assignment. And at 10, tension between a husband and wife in the ice storm.
We're not going anywhere.
Relax with great viewing on 3.
Your broker is taking a huge slice out of your insurance premium every month. Cut out your broker. Call Outsurance Direct and save up to 25%. For car, household and business insurance, call Outsurance on 08 600 60,000.
Good evening. President Thabo Mbeki has launched government's much-awaited expanded public works program in Limpopo, Guyana. The program is part of government's response to the national outcry for jobs. It uses labor-intensive methods to deliver services such as upgrading of roads, pipelines, housing and electrification. It's a multi-million rand program, and President Mbeki warned that government will deal firmly with any form of corruption. The head council of the NNP in the Free State has recommended that the party should disband in the province. The council believes there's no real chance of a meaningful political role.
We had to ask ourselves the question, can we still play a significant role in the Free State with pride? And we've discussed the issue, as a matter of fact, we've discussed the role of the party and the future of the party for the last year. And there are various options on the table at the moment, and we had to decide. And therefore we took the decision, which I may add is only a decision, and that will be a recommendation to our Federal Council, and they will actually be in a position to on their behalf, to take the decision to the Federal Congress of our party.
Moving further afield, Sonia Gandhi has formally announced that she will not be India's next Prime Minister. Gandhi withdrew after controversy over foreign birth and Catholic beliefs. Her Congress party had pressed her to accept the job after more than 320 MPs pledged their support to a Gandhi coalition government. She's said to be deeply hurt by the personal attacks against her. Some supporters threatened to set themselves on fire if she refused the post. Gandhi suggested that reformist Manmohan Singh take the reins.
Israel has killed 16 Palestinians in one of the biggest raids in Gaza since the start of the uprising. The raid has provoked international condemnation because of Israeli threats to destroy hundreds of Palestinian houses in Gaza. Many gathered for pre-dawn prayers when the mosque was set ablaze by a missile strike. The Israeli army said there were no plans for any systematic demolition. They call it an open-ended operation to stop the smuggling of weapons through tunnels from Egypt. Pope John Paul II today celebrated his 84th birthday with the launch of a book. The ailing pontiff is spending the day in an apostolic palace in the Vatican. The book is entitled Get Up, Let Us Go, and follows the Holy Father as he travels down memory lane from a young man to his twilight years as leader of 1 billion Roman Catholics. The Pope defends the Church's rule of clerical celibacy, saying it allows a priest to dedicate his life to the Church. It was business as usual today for the pontiff. His schedule included a meeting with the Portuguese Prime Minister and later a private audience with the Polish President. On to sport. Paris, New York, Moscow, London and Madrid have been accepted as candidates to stage the 2012 Summer Olympics. The IOC rejected bids from Rio de Janeiro, Leipzig, Havana and Istanbul. The 5 cities have until July 6th next year to convince the International Olympic Committee's membership to award them the world's most important sports event. Paris, which last hosted the Olympics in 1924, is viewed as the frontrunner for 2012. In deciding host cities, IOC experts give the most weight to 2 categories: general infrastructure and accommodation. Now for a brief look at the weather. It will be sunny and mild across the country. Fresh westerly winds will blow along the Cape South coast, becoming southwesterly off the Eastern Cape. That's all from the 2 of us. Don't miss the news at 7. Goodbye.
For DTV.
Stand by. Roll camera.
Roll camera.
Stand by.
3, 2,
Stand by. Roll camera.
1.
Action. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by.
In about an hour's time, I reckon Joy is going to be rethinking her decision to go undercover into the foundation as Gustav finds a chink in the armor. That's an Isidingo at 6:30. To take us there, it's back to the 3 Talk studios where Nolene is standing by.
This is 3 Talk, your live afternoon talk show on SABC 3, and I'm your host, Nolene Maulana-San. There are certain skills we need to succeed in life. This goes for every one of us. Recently, Bill Gates told a group of teenagers that it's essential to learn certain life skills which are often not taught at schools. Without these skills, he said, they would all fail. Teenagers are taught things like maths, English, history, geography, etc. at school, but are they equipped with skills to make responsible decisions, resolve conflicts, and deal with issues such as peer pressure, sexuality, and drugs? That is what we're talking about today, life skills for teenagers. What are the issues facing teenagers today? Our number is 08622 33303 or SMS 083 601 9932. Please welcome Dr. D, our regular clinical psychologist, and Alessandra Newton, the adolescent director at Family Life Center. Thank you very much for coming in. You know, someone said this afternoon, a teenager, I said, what are you talking about, Nolene? I said, we're talking about life skills for teenagers. And they said, I hope you've all got teenagers there to tell us what to do. Because often, you big people tell us what to do and it doesn't work. What would you say?
Well, you know, I think that they've got a point in that one of the most important life skills for adults when they deal with teens is to remember that they have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and perhaps do a lot less telling what to do and a lot more listening. And that's a good starting point. What teenagers absolutely hate is if you stand there and preach to them. After a while, they switch off and they don't hear anything that you say.
Would that not be what we're doing today? You know, because we're saying to teenagers, we are giving you life skills.
I don't think we're doing that. I hope that we're saying it's a process there, it's an interaction, and that parents need to learn to talk respectfully to their teenagers so that the teenagers want to listen. I mean, I think that's got a lot to do with it. I don't know what you feel about that, Dee.
No, I certainly do. And I don't think it's a matter, I mean, even by the way we start, of sitting and saying you have to do this and you have to do that. What we're going to say, hopefully, is if you develop this skill, in terms of understanding your feelings better and learning how to cope with them, if you know how to deal with that terrible heartache that comes when you break up with your boyfriend, maybe, I was going to say for the first time, but the heartache is probably just as bad for the second or third time, or most especially when he dumps you or vice versa. If you know what to do when your best friend seems to have dropped you, you know, or you feel left out, how do you deal with things like huge peer pressure when it's so important for you, so important to be accepted as one of the crowd, but inside you feel that you can't go along with some of the things that they suggest. And I think that these are the things that they're really grappling with and want to hear about. So it's not a matter of you must, you should, you have to, you ought to, why don't you, you bad. It's a matter of equipping them.
Are the issues that teenagers are facing in South Africa today the same issues? Because at Family Life, obviously, you come across teenagers, you interact with teenagers on a daily basis, so you're getting all of that information, which is invaluable. Are the issues the same compared to, what, 20 years ago?
Well, I don't think they are, actually, because I've been at Family Life for 15 years, and I see a change. I think the stresses are huge, absolutely huge, in the last, say, 5 or 6 years. There's enormous stress, and when I first started cottoning on to this, I thought it would probably be about, you know, crime and this and that. And it's not about that. It's about what happens in the family, and it's about the stress at school, the pressures, and what Dee's saying, not only the peer pressure, but the pressure of work and achievement and competition and having to be top, and not always being recognized for those other skills that are not immediately measurable.
Is that bad? Is that a bad thing, that those kinds of pressures? Are they good pressures? Are they bad pressures?
Well, I think that they might be positive in that it has to spur you on to be the best that you can be. And it's certainly encouraging that you can't, in one sense, you know, you can't just afford to lapse into kind of teenage oblivion, if you want to. But it's the extent of it and the extent of the stress. I think that there are all similarities. I mean, I came across something the other day which I thought was wonderful. It was, if the youth today are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, then surely it'll be the end of the world. They are bad, uncouth, they've got terrible manners. There were 4 such quotes.
And they're bad hairstyles.
All of them. I mean, and you know what? The one was written something like 400 years BC, found in some ancient rune or whatever, and they were all very, very ancient quotes. And what the author was trying to say is that we've been saying the same thing about that period, that special journey, that unique period called adolescence, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in more detail forever. And it is supposed to be a difficult period because it's a transition from childhood to adulthood, from saying that's true because my mommy says so, or my daddy is stronger than yours, to going through a period where they suddenly, and it can happen quite quickly, know absolutely nothing, to then emerging on the other side being not too different, certainly in terms of values, from what you've internalized all those years. And that period is naturally a difficult period. We might have more stresses, we might have more difficult problems, huge more number of choices than we had. But that period in development remains that period.
Why are teenagers so difficult, though?
They're trying to find out who they are, and that's probably the crux of the matter.
Difficult?
I think it's a quest to find out who are you, what makes you tick, where do you fit, and everyone has to go through that. Because as Dee was saying, initially you just do as you're told, more or less, or some children do it more than others, but you sort of you're almost told what your identity is when you're younger, and then suddenly you're thinking, no, this is not so anymore, and I want to find out for myself. And that's where the experimentation comes in, it's where the pushing of the boundaries comes in.
And then
needs to
we
happen.
parents want to tear our hair
Absolutely.
out. Alessandra, we're going to catch up with you later on in the show. Do you know how to deal with your teenager? Our number is 086 2233303, or you can SMS 083 601 9932. After the break, we'll talk to two teenagers about the issues they are facing.
You've heard of the amazing benefits of coral calcium. Now there's Coralex Supreme, the super nutrient that balances your body's pH for harmonious, healthy living. With the original coral calcium from Japan, plus extra minerals and vitamins. Now you can get Coralex Supreme for only $99.95. Coralex Supreme, naturally available from Globemail shops and these fine stores.
In the next exciting episode of The Amazing Race.
The thrills of Italian snow rafting. Holy crap! But Kelly and John leave crucial equipment behind. The teams take Venice by storm for a gondola battle.
Now we gotta go backwards.
And a tricky roadblock could unmask the next eliminated team.
Shoot! This sucks.
The competition heats up in The Amazing Race. Tonight at 7:30. Exclusive to SABC3.
Welcome back to 3 Talk. As your body changes from a child into a teenager, the world doesn't look the same and the issues facing you somehow seem different and more pressurizing. As a teenager, how do you deal with your issues? Who and where do you go to find help? And are we as a society supporting you as you go through all of these changes? Please welcome Maxine Boone and Neo Tage. Thank you very much for coming in. It's really, really a pleasure to be talking to you because I want to find out what the real issues are. Because it's one thing us old people talking about the issues that teenagers are supposed to be going through and the life skills that you're supposed to be learning without finding out who you are and what your issues are. So who's Neo? How old is Neo? Where does Neo come from? What are his issues?
Okay. Neo comes from Ekasi.
Yeah.
Alexandra. Neo goes to East Benkai. I'm 19. I'm in grade 12. And what else do you want to know?
Okay, I'll come back. What the issues are. Maxine.
My name's Maxine Boone, and I live in Parkwood, and I'm 15 years old. I'm in grade 9. Yeah.
All right. What are some of the issues facing teenagers? Obviously, you come from two totally different backgrounds. Totally different backgrounds. What are your issues now? As a teenager, next year you won't be a teenager anymore, but you've been a teenager for a very long time. What have been some of the issues that you've been facing?
No, in fact, I wish I could stay a teenager because as a teenager, there's a lot of things that you learn through the challenges that come to you as a teenager. Right now, most issues that are affecting the young people, it's teenage pregnancy, drugs, and crime. Those are the most hype and happening things Ekasi right now as we talk, you know. If you smoke, you hype. If you don't have a baby, hey, where you from, you know? And if you don't do crime, if you don't have money, then hey, we as the girls don't want you. You gotta have money, you know. Crime and teenage pregnancy and drugs, a lot of drugs. It's the most issues that are affecting us today.
Now personalize this for me now. How does all of this pertain to you? Are you part of that in crowd, or have you decided that I will not be part of this in crowd, the crime, the babies, the drugs?
Oh well, unfortunately enough, I've decided that it's my life, and I'm not gonna take it bit by bit by smoking. I don't smoke, and yes, I am affected because people smoke around me, and when those people smoke, I get concerns to say, I as a young person and as peer counselor in my school, what do I say about this? Unfortunately, people make choices. Crime, no. Thank you very much.
Crime.
I don't
well
do
done
crime.
to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Baby, unfortunately, I have a baby. I just got a baby girl yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
But it must be a bittersweet moment for you because you're 19 years old and your girlfriend, you've now got a baby.
No, I'm the most happiest man on earth. I'm glad I have this baby because you know why? This is the one experience that I'm missing in my life. I've had all of them. But baby, I've never had. So this is my first chance, and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability.
Okay, now we need to reconcile that with grade 12, unemployment and all of that, and how you're going to get out of this, and how you're going to feed this one-day-old baby. Now, what are your issues, Maxine? What are you going through?
Well, dealing with like always looking your best and...
And by the way, you look excellent.
Thank you.
I love that skirt.
Thank you.
Okay. I learned so much from teenagers.
Are you teasing?
Of course not. I would love to dress like that, but I can't. What, Dr. D?
Yeah, I can wear that on one leg.
Not the size. So your issues, Maxine, what you going
always
through?
looking the best and always being the thinnest, the best at everything, and very different issues. But in a way, like drugs, same thing. Pregnancy, not so much. And
but personally, what do you, I mean, you know, what you've both described, except the baby, perhaps, is, you know, generally what teenagers are going through. But what I want to know is, what are Maxine's issues? Looking good. You've already got that down to a pat, so you look good. You know, when you wake up in the morning, what's consuming your mind? What is in Maxine? What do you need to get out of life? What do you think?
Schoolwork takes so much out of me. Like, it's so much pressure and always getting your marks and stuff. And sports, very into sports. So you always have to be the best.
So it's that competition.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, they're totally different issues here.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to you, Dr. D, because we need to talk about life skills, and I'd like to hear the young people, what they think of the life
What I
skills.
just want to comment on, and then certainly it's up to them, they're the teenagers, is that they appear to be such totally different issues, but they're both about acceptance. The one, her issues are about acceptance in her world. You've got to be the thinnest. You say she's done that already. Ask Maxine if she believes that she's done that to the ultimate. It's probably an issue for you every single day.
Yeah.
Even though she looks like this, it's still not enough, or there are people that are better. And that's an issue, or being the best in terms of your marks. If you listen to our friend over here, it's to do with having enough money so that the girls will, and being accepted, doing the things that are important to that crowd. And that's really, I think, epitomizes a lot of the teenage issues. What do I need to do in the environment that I'm in to be seen as it? When do I know that I've really made it? And it's tough, I think.
All right, let's go to Hefni in Mpumalanga. Hi, Hefni.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and how are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
I have been dumped about 3 times, and the boyfriend keeps coming to ask for forgiveness, and I don't know what to do. Yes.
So he has dumped you 3 times. Yes. How old are you, Hefni?
I'm 16.
16. And how long have you been going out with him?
For 3 months.
And he's dumped you 3 times?
Yes.
Okay, why is he doing that? Why is he dumping you?
He doesn't say.
All right, and obviously, okay, I'm going to stop there. Don't go away. Maybe Dr. D is going to be talking to you. So the next voice you hear is going to be Dr. D.
Okay, I think that the first thing that you've got to understand is Nolene's question. I mean, 3 times in 3 months is a lot of times, and I think that you shouldn't go back unless you understand what the issues are, because otherwise you're just going back to more of the same. And also that he's sorry for what he's done to you, and you resolve what the issues are. Otherwise you just go back, put the whole thing under the carpet, and get into the same problems all over again. So you need to sit down with him and have a really good heart-to-heart open conversation before you even consider it. Otherwise you're going to be hurt again and again and again.
Okay.
Hefni, who do you talk to?
I talk to a friend, but she's not always there, so
do you have an open conversation with your mum?
no, I don't.
You know, I think the important thing is that it doesn't matter how young you are, you need to maintain your dignity and begin to decide how you will and will not be treated by anybody. And it would be useful to have an adult person. I like to call it an angel mother. And the angel mother could be your real mother. Sometimes she is your real mother, but if it, in certain circumstances when it isn't, another older person who could act as that kind of mentor, and you feel that this person is supporting you and on your side no matter what. And everybody needs that.
Thank you very much, Hefne.
Thank you.
I hope that works.
Okay, thank you, bye.
All right, thank you. How would you address this if a teenager, your group of friends, and teenager says, your other friend says, listen, this girl keeps on dumping me.
In fact, I was worried that she understood what Dr. D was saying right now, because I thought I should intervene and say, from a perspective of a person who's going through the same thing, maybe with dumping and we're getting back together with dumping, I understand it's a game. And we get tired of playing the same game sometimes, you know. She's young, she's 16, and as young as she is, she's growing out of some things, she's going into some things that she needs to experiment. With the boy as well, the boy is probably getting somebody else outside and then gets dumped and then comes back to this one. She might be used, you know. So the best thing is that this guy makes his final decision. The next time it happens, she must go and move on, you know, because she cannot go back to the same thing over and over. I believe that experience is the best teacher. So if he's dumped you before 3 times, he's likely to do it
in 3 months.
18 times. You know, he's likely to do it 18 times. So why not get out of it, get dumped once and for all? Okay. So getting back to it and trying to talk to a person who's going to do it again and again, I believe they've done it before. So 3 times, you should have done that before. And just talk to that person, you know. So the best thing is that play on, but play it safe.
Okay. I think that's great advice, Hefne. Here's an SMS. How do I guide my child through bad peer pressure? Benny from Johannesburg. I'm going to ask a teenager, and then I'd like Dr. D as a life skills, teenage life skills coach to give us some...
An honorary teenager.
An honorary teenager. Maxine, how do you deal with peer pressure?
It's very hard. It's very hard. But you have to know who you are, and you have to be sure of yourself and know who your true friends are and your family, that they'll always be there for you. And just don't listen to other people.
When a friend comes to you and says, Maxine, let's go out and, I don't know, let's go to a club.
Yeah.
There's a way out of your house, you can leave at 8 o'clock, I'll pick you up outside.
Yeah.
That's peer pressure.
Yeah,
what do you do? Do you tell them to go and jump in the nearest pool? Do you go to your mum? What do you do? What would you do?
I would definitely not go to my mom.
Not?
No.
Why?
Because I think the thought of clubs for her would...
freak her out?
Yeah, definitely. But if I didn't want to do it, I'd say no. I'd definitely say no.
Okay.
I think that it's quite a pity, and you know, I wonder how many, I would guess that Maxine's answer probably represents millions of teenagers. And I think it's quite sad for me to hear that many wouldn't go to their moms, because that means to me that the moms come up with a huge, they react instead of responding. A reaction is almost immediate. You know, she talks about freaking out. That's quite, whereas, you know, I think that as adults we should know that all of these kind of things happen. We're scared for our children, but instead of freaking out, rather sit down and address the issues. You know, that you would say, I think, in a situation like that, maybe there's a part of you that would really like to go. It seems like fun. You're curious about what goes on there. Let me tell you what my reservations are and discuss them openly. Instead of just, if you react violently in the beginning, what you're doing is cutting off that relationship instead of engaging in it and giving a teenager the benefit of your wisdom. And I think one of the saddest things, interestingly, is when parents turn around and they say, my child's my best friend. Because in fact, as a teenager, you're going to have lots of friends, but only one mom and only one dad, and they need you to be that. And to keep those lines of communication open.
Okay.
This spinning thing that I wanted to say is that, okay, one, if you want to deal with peer pressure, how I deal with it, I would in fact be the leader of that. I don't let anybody lead me. I lead these people who want to pressure me into doing something. So if they say I do that, I say no, instead let's do this. You know, if instead of saying let's go to a party, I say instead of going to a party, let's go see the girls. Either way, I just let myself be the leader. And one other thing that maybe she could do is maybe try now, and because we should understand as young people that our parents are living in a different world. Now,
they don't understand you.
Exactly, they are left behind, and they don't allow us as young people to bring them in. Now, I'm free to say I have a baby and free to say I'm proud of it because I've brought my parents aboard my car. We're driving in the same pace, we're going in the same speed. They understand every single thing I do. I invite them into my world. Because if we close them out and say, I'm not going to go to her, she's shut it out. And every single time she's going to hear it, she's going to freak. And maybe, yes, it's because of now she's feeling, I want to be the best friend. Like the doctor is saying, the parents are saying, my baby is the best friend I have. Now, it's best if, yes, we invite them. Because sometimes the best way to beat your enemy is to be by her side.
Okay.
I'm not saying your parents are your
You
enemies.
sound like a very wise man, Noel, but you still haven't explained to me how you're going to get through this daddy period, and you're in great health. But no, you're going to tell me on the show, because I'm going to bring you back a little later on. What is it like to be a teenager in South Africa? What are the issues? Call me on 086 223 or you can SMS 083 601 9932. After the break, we talk to a passionate life orientation teacher about the subject and its objectives as part of Curriculum 2005.
Welcome to the new series, Surprise, Surprise!
Featuring all new guests.
I'm a bunch from the Spice
Oh,
Girls.
baby Spice.
It's Rachel Stevens! What series is going to be the best ever? This one!
Oh, yeah.
Who's the greatest chat show family in the universe? We are! It's awesome in the proper sense of the word.
Always makes me feel good.
Are we the greatest?
Lack of adequate competition. I'm going to laugh now and pretend like I understood that. I've never been on a show like this.
Nothing is going to get in our way.
Family Madness with the Kumars at number 42 starts Wednesday, the 26th of May at 9.
SABC Education and Orbs Media proudly brings you the 2004 SABC Careers Education and Training Fair. We invite all grade 9 to 12 learners, tertiary education learners, and educators to visit us at the fair, free of charge. On the 12th and the 13th of May, the fair will take place at the Pretoria Showgrounds in Tshwane. And if you miss out on that one, there will be another fair at the Good Hope Centre in Cape Town on the 19th and the 20th of May. For more information on what's on, what's hot, and how to register, contact us on 011 460 0247. SABC Education, enriching your mind, enriching your life.
You're watching Free Talk, your live afternoon talk show. You attend school for, an average of 11 years. Then you have to decide what is it you want to do with your life, your future. Are you equipped with the necessary skills to make responsible life decisions? Life orientation is a subject at school and forms part of Curriculum 2005. Please welcome Bridget Neves, a life orientation teacher. I wish I had that when I was at school, because I needed life orientation, and I was bumbling, and in fact all my colleagues were bumbling in the dark. So what is life orientation? What do you do?
It's a subject that where we aim to equip our learners with skills, values, attitudes to take out into the world, not only now while they're still at school, but after school as well. We then try to go a little bit further and give them the opportunity within our classes to act on and master these skills, values, attitudes.
Okay, now give me an example. What would be one of those subjects?
Okay, for me at the moment, personal development, self-awareness is the most important, I will call it a theme, in life orientation. We we learn things about who we are, liking the face in the mirror, why it's important to say positive things about ourselves. We live in a world where there's negativity everywhere, and we forget to look for the bright side of life. So focusing on personal development is then your cornerstone to everything else. The career that you're going to choose, how you're going to look at yourself with regards to your body image, your health, and everything else. So personal development is important, and you go about that in a fun way. You try and make learning fun. You discuss with your learners. You speak about the importance of why it is important to have a positive self-image. Do
you talk about boys?
We speak about boys, yes.
Because I think all teenagers want to talk about boys and girls. Maxine, am I right? Absolutely. Caroline in Cape Town, hello.
Hi, Nadine.
Hello.
I just want to say I really love your show. It's really informative and stuff, so
thank you.
Well done. I just want to bring up a subject that also affects youth, where I find that it's affecting me and my friends as well. That is that it's mixed relationships, and the way that parents don't accept a mixed relationship. Say if you're white and have a colored boyfriend, they don't want to accept it. And I think that people should like move on now, and, like because it's a new South Africa, right? So people should like start accepting mixed relationships. And I mean, we are under a lot of pressure nowadays with drugs and clubs and all that stuff. But I mean, I just think that parents should be like more accepting if you have like a boyfriend of a different race or girlfriend of a different race.
Are you having an issue with your mum or your dad because you've got a relationship with someone of a different color?
No, not me personally, but I have friends who have a problem with their parents.
And what are the parents saying of those your friends?
It's usually like because like okay, I have a friend who has a boyfriend who's Muslim and she's Christian. And obviously there's like conflict between the families because they don't agree on it because of the cultural differences and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you've raised a really important point. Thank you very much. Are those some of the issues that you would have? You know, the love across the color line.
Yes, definitely. But I would say it's not more of an issue in today's time than it was a few years ago. I think it's more accepting, and I know my parents wouldn't have a problem with it, definitely. And most of my friends' parents wouldn't either. So.
But obviously she's raised an issue, so it is an issue in some families that they don't want their daughter who's black to go out with a white boy, vice versa, or across religious lines. So how do you handle that? What do you do? It's more of education for the parents than it is for the teenagers.
I think it's a really important question, especially now where we are in our new democracy. Some of the issues, though, as Maxina said, have been there for a long time, in terms of religious issues and different cultural issues and so on. And I think you're right. I mean, it is to do with enlightening people. You know, what they see is often to do based on fear and based on myths and beliefs of what a future life might be if people don't have the same kind of security to do with a religion or particular assumed lifestyle that they have.
What do you say, Dr. D, to a teenager? Here's a teenager who's saying, we've got a problem, our parents are not. So what do you say to those parents, and what do those teenagers do?
Well, I think the first thing I'd say to the parents is just, let's talk about your reservations, or talk about your reservations to your teenager. Let them understand what's behind the no. Let them understand some of the concerns and the fears that you're going through, and then listen. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to what their feelings are beyond external appearances. Maybe they have issues that aren't exactly the same as yours. And also what might happen is that if they cut it off and attempt to do that, teenagers are just going to go and do unacceptable behaviors to you. I'm not saying the behavior is unacceptable, but unacceptable to you behind your back.
Because teenagers do things anyway. You know, you do. I remember myself as a teenager. If my parents don't like it, I'll do it anyway.
Exactly. I don't think parents should make it an issue. And if they do, their child would probably go and do it just to spite them, which happens.
Which is not the best way. Bianca in Johannesburg, welcome to 3 Talk.
Hi, thanks. I just want to first of all say thanks a lot for your show. I think a lot of teenagers out there would really appreciate it that their parents would be allowed to see something like this and understand where teenagers are coming from. I'd like to say thanks for the issues you have raised so far, but I think one of the issues that haven't been or has not been raised yet is the issue of rape. A couple of years ago, I was at a party with a friend, and she was raped and murdered.
Oh, gosh.
I was actually holding her hand as the ambulance came to take her away because the guy that raped her injected her with heroin so that she would OD. And it was a whole big issue, so I think drugs and rape are sort of go hand in hand. And, well, yeah, I think it's a hectic issue for teenagers today.
It certainly is a hectic. I mean, what you've just described is terribly hectic. I mean, how have you dealt with it, Bianca? Because, I mean, holding your friend's hand while that is happening must be awful.
It was terrible, but, after the incident, I actually sort of shut it down and kept it inside for a very, very long time, and I only recently counseled and spoke to my mom about it, and the issue only came up recently when it was affecting my schoolwork. And, well, yeah, I saw your show.
Were you unable to talk to your mom?
I was very able to talk to my mom. My mom and myself have a very, very open relationship, and I also think that's very important for teenagers nowadays to try, as hard as it, in most cases it is, to try and have a strong relationship with your family.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, Bianca. I mean, I mean, she describes it as hectic. And all teenagers talk about hectic, you know, but I think that is traumatic. It really, really is. Let me start with you. I mean, drugs, rape, teenagers.
Yes.
What do you say in your life orientation courses?
Again, it comes down to knowing who you are and being happy with the person that you are. Because once you are happy with that person, you will then be able to face these issues that you are dealt with. I can't preach to the learners that I have, don't do drugs, don't have sex before marriage, because I can say it till the cows come home, and it's going to come back to them in the end, whether they're going to choose it. As Maxine was saying, often if a teenager is told, don't do it, they're going to rebel anyway, just because they've been told by an older person not to do it. I just need to get back to the topic of parents and having your parents involved. For the life orientation teachers that are watching, there's many ways that we can involve our parents in our learners' lives. And as simple things as writing letters home to them at the beginning of each term, telling them what we're going to be doing in our life orientation classes so that they know. I think a lot of parents are resistant to life orientation as a subject because it's seen as a waste of time as such. There's no quick fix results to drug awareness, to personal development. You're not going to start seeing the results straight away as you might with maths or science. It's a process, it's a journey. So a lot of them might think of it as a waste of time. But getting your parents involved is vitally important. So if you're doing a theme on, let's say, drug awareness in the classroom, have an evening where you invite your parents round. Let someone come and speak to them about the drugs, the issues that our teenagers are dealing with regards to drugs. Bring your parents in so that they know what they are dealing with as well.
Bianca mentioned, I mean, what she went through was a very traumatic experience.
You know, when
Drugs,
you listen to
rape,
that,
date rape.
Yeah, you know, Nodi, when you listen to that, I mean, then you suddenly get other things into perspective. So, like your appearance or the colour of the person who you happen to be going out with, really that kind of thing fails into insignificance when you listen to something like this. And I mean, she took a long time in talking about it. I think one of the lessons that we can learn from a call like that is to deal with your feelings and to talk about them quite a lot sooner. She waited till there were problems in her schoolwork, possibly problems in her relationships, dealing with the confusion and the trauma of this kind of thing and of being there with someone who you love who's dying after this, maybe some sense of guilt or even responsibility. So if you ever go through anything that doesn't even have to approach that, but that's mildly traumatic, it is important to have an environment where you can come and deal with it. And these kind of things happen. You know, teenagers get very upset with their parents for boundaries. But I think the real role of parents is to allow your children to burn their fingers. They have to. But also to see that they're not third-degree burns. So how do you get that balance?
We need to talk about that, how to get that balance, because some of us just don't want our teenagers to do anything. SMS, my daughter is 10. When should I start talking to her about sex and other big issues? Carol from Port Elizabeth. When would you say is the right time to talk to a teenager about sex?
There's never a right time, I don't think, but they should be learning about it from primary school, from when they are 10 and younger, because it's an issue that we are dealing with. Kids today know more than we ever knew at school at that age. Not sure we can ask Max.
Maxine?
When,
yes, let's ask Miss Maxine.
No, definitely. I think today issues are more out in the open and people are more open-minded and more than in the old times.
When should one start talking about sex?
I think as early as possible, as early as they will understand, because it is an issue. And with sex, STDs and AIDS, and I think with sex, so does the issues come with that. So I think early, say a little child is raped, so if they knew about AIDS and stuff, then
earlier on, it would be much better. Okay, we're going to say goodbye to you, Maxine, and Dr. D, we're going to catch up with you later on. Thank you so much for being on the show, Maxine. Is life orientation an important subject at school? Call me on 086 223 or SMS 083 601 9932. After the break, we'll discuss ways to communicate with teens and look at more of the sensitive issues our teenagers are facing.
kids put in their pockets now are important for their future. Omo Multi-Active Power Foam removes even trapped-in stains on pockets, cuffs, and collars. Omo, no stains, no learning.
Fine day in Grahamstown. Sunny skies with no sign of rain.
The National Arts Festival Grahamstown, celebrating the art of life. Booking kit now available from Standard Bank branches and CompuTicket.
Why risk injury or your life in an accident caused by old worn-out wipers? With Durablade from Verimark, your windscreen is wiped perfectly dry for a crystal clear view. Developed and tested over 10 years, Durablade is made from super tough, heat-resistant silicone and is the only wiper blade lifetime guaranteed never to tear, crack or perish. Durablade fits all vehicles and is quick and easy to fit. Drive down to your nearest fitment center and get a set of Durablades fitted for the special price of only 79 Rand.
While he prepares to be a lone gladiator on the fields of Athens, they will unite to do battle with heart and soul as a team. Noxa and its partners, making greater South Africans.
You are watching 3 Talk, your live afternoon talk show. Your teenage years may be turbulent, and they may be very turbulent, but they are also an exciting discovery of who you are as an individual. With the right motivation, education, and support, teens can deal with their issues and enjoy this period in their development. Please welcome Gavin Sharples, a motivational speaker, and welcome back Alessandra Newton, the teenager director at Family Life. Some of the don't even say it. It's one of those things that unfortunately happen on live television, so we won't repeat it. What are the issues that teenagers are facing?
Well, adolescents basically have lots of problems. Look, I think that when speaking to them, and that's before I go talk to a school, I normally sit down with a couple of them and say, what are the issues? What are the problems? And it's amazing. It's funny that I think a lot of the teenagers we bring on TV, they answer questions that we think that you want them to say, like some of the teenagers. Well, I think drugs, and I think... I
know that, because if Maxine was sitting with a group of pals in a different environment, the answers would be completely different.
Absolutely right. So what I try and do is get a bunch of them sitting together and then talk to them one-on-one or as a group or something about the real issues that are faced with. And one of the things Dr. D spoke about is the acceptance thing, but another thing is freedom. I think it's a big thing for teenagers. They want to be free. They want to be able to say what they want, go where they want, do what they want. And then they want to know how to get that. And what they want to get that is the money. Because money will give you the clothing, it'll give you the right. So money and freedom and that acceptance thing is a big thing for teenagers today. And I mean, when I talk at schools, the first thing that the group sits down and says to me is, we don't care what you talk about. Please don't talk about sex with a condom, drugs and AIDS.
Why not?
Because it's done to death.
But are they understanding the concepts? Are they understanding that sex without a condom or premarital sex, all of those issues are a no-no?
They understand that. They're not stupid. And I think that's the big problem what we're doing with these teenagers, kids. We're looking at them and looking at them and saying, you tell a child this, and that. They understand it. They're not stupid. You can tell a 4-year-old some basic life. My 3-year-old's got me around her finger. Yeah. She understands life. So when you look at these kids today, these youngsters, you say to them, this is how it works. They know that. That's not the problem. The problem is what is how you drill in and why you drill in. I find that when I talk to them, I seem to get away with saying things that their parents have been saying for the last 20 years. They won't listen. I walk in and say it in all of a sudden it's gospel because it's just the way you say it, the way you communicate.
What would you say? Think about it. I'm going to go to Thomas in Boksburg. I want you to give me one example, summing up what I said to Maxine and what I said to Neo, and get through to them. Okay. Great. Thomas in Boksburg, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Okay, thanks.
Good.
I'd just like to know, I'm in grade 7 now, and most of my friends' parents, they don't allow their children to have any boyfriends or girlfriends or what. I don't know. Can you just tell me why they don't allow that?
Okay. Are you allowed to have, Thomas, are you allowed to have a girlfriend?
Oh yeah, my mom allows it.
Okay. So you have an issue, maybe there's a girl that you like,
Yeah.
and this girl, the parents don't want her to have a boyfriend.
Yeah, that's right.
And you are how old?
Becoming 13 next year.
13.
Yeah.
Are you wanting a serious relationship?
No, but the parents doesn't allow her to go out at all.
Okay. And where do you want to take her, Thomas?
I don't know where.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your call, Thomas. Why is it that parents don't allow a 13-year-old to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
It's fear-driven. The whole thing is fear-driven. And, you know, I think if parents could share that and share their fear, instead of coming down and saying, oh, I'm not allowing this. First of all, you can't not allow someone to have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
But at 13,
But, I mean, you can't stop them from calling somebody a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah. But the problem is it not because maybe we as parents, we think
of all sorts of things, and often they're not going anywhere near that. Sometimes they are. But we work with a lot of teenagers. I mean, I think we see about 20,000 a year over all different areas and ages and stages. And, you know, a lot of these kids are not doing anything so incredibly desperately bad, right? And I think adults sit there and parents sit there and they imagine the absolute worst.
The worst.
Yeah, and often these guys, the girls, they're not doing that much.
Yeah.
I think also be worried about the parents who are very strict, because it just shows what type of people they were. Because let's face it, there are a lot of parents. Honestly, there's a lot of parents out there who basically they were hell raisers.
Excuse me, those
and
are the fathers.
and the fathers, but the fathers needed to hell raise with someone.
Yeah.
Okay, they weren't hell raising by themselves. It was normally a little filly around.
No, but you don't have hell raised with someone from the opposite sex.
Absolutely, but
you could have done it on your own.
Not much fun, though.
Well,
that's not the issue.
That's not the issue.
But you'll find that the big thing is that we brought parents up here a lot. You know, I believe that we should have this. We shouldn't have like orientation for teenagers. We should have parents' orientation. We should bring the parents in and teach them how to deal with, because they're functioning on fear. And if I know I was a hellraiser and I know what they can get up to, I'm going to put the checks and balances in. But you'll find that there's some parents who weren't like that. And also they're so trusting. You say, you're letting your child go out, they're 13, you're letting them go to a rave all night, and try and some parents sit there and go, yeah, well, what could possibly happen?
Oh, no.
We get that. But then on the other hand, you get that. And the idea is the balance. I'm using the extremes now.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you're getting, with the last quarter, what was his name?
Thomas.
Thomas seems to be that young man that every parent warns their children about. So this young man...
No, Thomas, you didn't mean that. You really didn't. You're a nice guy.
Thomas is a nice guy, but he must also understand, and another thing, when I'm sitting down with the kids, and I say to them, I ask the question, if you were principal of your school for a day, if you were a principal, what would you do? 8 out of 10 kids tell me more discipline. 8 out of 10 kids say there will be more discipline in our school. Now, maybe a Thomas isn't at that stage yet, obviously 13. And a lot of people think that when there's discipline, it's curtailing my what I want to go do. At the end of the day, discipline is a good thing. And a lot of the teenagers are realizing that. And they do that, but it's the way it's put across.
You see, I think the teenagers, a lot of them are desperate for some boundaries, actually.
Absolutely. That's what
but it's the way they're put in. This is the crux of the thing.
Okay, so how do we put in these boundaries? What would you say, Bridget? How do we put in these boundaries?
You don't preach. You mustn't preach to them. You've got to make, within the classroom situation, you've got to make the learning fun. You've got to create an adventure so that they're taking on board what you're saying without even really being aware of it. So do things differently. Show them that learning doesn't have to be about sitting down, this is how you do it, this is what you do with drugs, this is what you mustn't do. Do it differently. Get out there, show them different things, have videos, do it, sing songs about it, just do it differently. Don't preach.
You were raising
my hand up, man.
Yes, Gavin, yes.
One of the things I do when I go to the schools is I try and show them that learning is fun, that no matter what you want in life, you can actually learn from school, and school as it is. The problem we're faced again is when I go into schools, I always say to schools, I won't charge you for the kids, but I'll charge you to speak to the teachers first. Because you've got to get the teachers' minds right first. Because let's face it, the whole question was, and you probably get this a lot, life orientation, what is it necessary in schools and that kind of thing. And I say, well, it's better than teaching them about a fern. You know what I mean? Yeah, label the fern. And kids come to me and say, but But see, am I going to go to a bank for a job application and they're going to...
What is a fern
If you label the fern, you can become a bank teller. At the end of the day, a lot of the teachings today is that the children cannot see the value of learning biology and history and maths and science. And that's the key. And I turn around and say to the teachers, if you can't make biology interesting enough for the kids to say, in other words, what do the kids want? They want freedom, they want money, fame, fortune, and they want chicks. Or they want blokes. That's what they want, okay?
Right.
Now, learning biology and history and science and maths, you can actually learn how to attract the opposite sex. You can learn how to make money. And then what we do...
You are a learner's dream.
We have
you
fun.
really are.
We have fun with the biology
but hold on, we're going to come back because you're staying on, and we'll talk more about all of this. What would your final comments be? If you were a teenager who comes to you and says, Alessandra, give me advice. Give me one life skill that I need. I'm in grade 12. I'm going out into the wide world.
Yeah. Get to know self-awareness. The whole thing is hinged on self-awareness. And hanging in with your gut feelings and just learning to trust them. The self-awareness, you know, it underpins, if you want to look at this, there's the whole big field now of emotional intelligence versus IQ and all this stuff. I mean, the sky is the limit with emotional intelligence, and the whole thing is underpinned by self-awareness.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. Bridget, thank you very much as well. Do you have a question or comment about life skills for teens? Call me on 086 2233 303 or SMS 083 601 9932. After the break, our panel gives you practical life skill advice.
I am an African. I owe my being to the hills and the valleys, the mountains and the glades, the rivers, the deserts, the trees, the flowers, the seas, and the ever-changing seasons that define the face of our native land. My body has frozen in our frosts and in our latter-day snows. It has thawed in the warmth of our sunshine and melted in the heat of the midday sun. The crack and the rumble of the summer thunders, lashed by startling lightning, have been a cause both of trembling and of hope. The fragrances of nature have been as pleasant to us as the sight of the wild blooms of the citizens of the veldt. The dramatic shapes of the dragon's back, the soil-colored waters of the Lekwa, Iqeli, Notugel, and the sands of the Kalahati have all been panels of the set on the natural stage on which we act out the foolish deeds of the theater of the day. I am the grandchild of the warrior men and women that incense the Kukuni land. Patriots at Tetwayo and Mpepu took to battle. The soldiers Mushweshwe and Ngumunyane taught never to dishonor the cause of freedom. Being part of all of these people, and in the knowledge that none dares contest that assertion, I shall claim that I'm an African.
The 2010 FIFA World Cup will be organized in South Africa.
Today, it feels good to be an African.
Welcome back to 3 Talk with me, Nolene. Being a teen is often described as being somewhere in the middle. So what life skills can you as a teen use when you are in that somewhere in the middle phase? And what life skills can parents, siblings, teachers and caregivers use when they're dealing with the turbulence of the teens? Welcome back, Dr. D, a regular clinical psychologist, and Neo Tache. But before we speak to them, let's go to Marissa in Pretoria. Hi, Marissa.
Hi, Nolene. Thank you for an excellent show today. I really think that's going to help a lot of teens.
Thank you.
My question is about my brother is 17 years old, or he's turning 17 this year, and he's got a girlfriend, and she's very nice. But the problem that I do have with him is that he's been drinking a bit from 15, and it's really started to get heavy this year. I'm really worried about him. I'm his older sister. I'm 20. I'm at varsity. And I'm scared that this drinking problem is going to get out of hand and it's going to invade his life. And I just want to know from the panel if they have any advice about what we can do. My mother is fed up. She doesn't know what to do anymore. And it's a serious problem. We live in a small town, and most of the parents there, the boys drink, all of them, and nobody knows what to do, and most parents don't care anymore.
Thank you, Marissa. I think that's a very important question. David, what do you do? Don't look at Neo. I'm asking you, the adult.
Teenager. I mean,
now I'm going to ask him, but we need practical advice. Here's the 17-year-old boy drowning in a bottle of whiskey.
Now, maybe it's a bit controversial, but when people ask me about drugs and alcohol and that type of stuff, I say there's nothing wrong with drugs and there's nothing wrong with alcohol. The problem is why does that person need the drugs and the alcohol?
Yes.
Okay, and again, some of our panel have said it, it's getting to know me. And there's a problem with an individual. If you've got to go to a party, and I say this to the youth today, if you've got to go to a party or a rave or any function and you need any type of chemical stimulus to make you have a good time, it's not the chemical stimulus that's the problem. It's why you think you need it. Why can't you just go to a party and have a good time? And if you have to have the alcohol or the drugs, you've got to sit down and ask yourself, why? Why do I need to drink myself a personality? Okay? And that's the questions we've got to address. And somebody has to sit these people down and start looking at those issues and say to them, let us start finding out why you need that. What is that substituting? What is that? What pain is that deadening? Whatever it is. And that's where we get, psychologists and people who work at schools who can actually sit down with these people, but somebody has to. And in that instance, I would say, if you've got a concerned sister and a mother, someone's got to be able to get through to this young man and say to him, what is the actual problem? Because it's not the drugs and the alcohol. That's just he's using to kill a pain or something is not working in that young man's life. And he's using that as a crutch. He's using that as almost an escape thing.
I did say no that we're going to touch on how you're going to feed your one-day-old baby. You're a teenager, you're in grade 12. How are you going to feed the baby?
I thought you forgot about that.
No, I don't forget.
Okay, but can I say something about what I was saying?
Very quickly, because we're running out of time.
Very quickly. I think most issues are issues because we entertain them as issues. You see, when you play Skutanga Matolo every day on TV, eventually a 3-year-old will know that song and will think this is the most important song. So if you talk to a person about alcohol every single day, they feel this is the most important thing. Let me do it every day. And I get so much attention from these people. So sometimes it's best if you treat things underground, you know? You talk to that person, but you don't show them that you're talking to them about... Exactly. Because that person is seeking attention. Now, coming to that point.
You don't have much time, eh?
Yeah, I know. You want to know?
I really do want to know.
Basically, how we're going to take care of this baby, we've basically seen that as a challenge, yes. But her mother is working. The baby's mother is working. Part-time jobs with some company. And one of the challenges that I thought I had as Neo is that I should work hard this year in matric. And at least, if not 4 distinctions, then I should get 3 so that I can go into a university or maybe get a bursary so that next year I can study and I don't have anything to do. But in the process, I told myself, even if I don't get that, one of the passionate things I have and want to do in my life is to alleviate the problem of crime in my community. So one thing that I've done, I've also started looking for application forms to join the force, the police force, to say I want it to alleviate the crime rate and at the same time be able to maintain my baby so that in 2 years' time I can now register with UNISA and study at home and do the job.
You've got a plan. 20 seconds. Life skills for teenagers.
Sure. We spoke about awareness being the first step to change, and I think that that's incredibly important. Understanding that you need to go along with the crowd in order to be accepted, and the freedom that Gavin's talking about, but you've got to know yourself as well.
Know yourself, understanding. Thank you very much. To find out more about 3 Talks guests and topics, you can go to www.sabc3.co.za or you can email 3talk@urbanbrew.co.za. Join 3 Talk tomorrow when we talk World Cup 2010 and what it really means for you and I. I'm Nolene Marlon Nasango. Thank you so much for joining me, and you have a wonderful evening.
latest weather update, a small American town is predicted to be on thin ice with approaching thunderstorms.
You know, I think Elena might suspect something.
Raging hormones.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
A person's body is his temple.
And a phenomenal cast, which is liable to blow you away. We recommend you tuck yourself in during The Ice Storm, tonight at 10, only on SABC3.
A small African country, highly trained mercenaries, and a coup plot with international fingerprints all over it. While it might sound like a tale straight out of an espionage thriller, tonight's special assignment reveals a situation that's all too real, with dire consequences for those involved. We lift the veil of uncertainty to unravel the alleged coup plot in Equatorial Guinea tonight at 9:30. You can get another rundown on tonight's lineup on the top of the hour. But first, Rajesh has to deal with his new abundance issues in Isiringo.
There is no point in putting it off. This is coming off today.
You don't need to do this now. If you turn into a stranger, I won't cope.
Okay.
Those bloody cancer cells, they don't stand a chance.
They don't know what's about to hit them.
Your sister, the perfect cook, came to see me today.
Oh, I hope it wasn't too bloody.
She was extremely supportive of us. What are you trying to say? You want to do the course?
I know what he's trying to hide.
Hi. Yeah, no, I just arrived home.
My name is Bonkele Nsui. I grew up around here. My family was not well off, but I managed to get a degree, the first in my family. But what I have learned didn't end there. The company I work for has taught me a lot. They have inspired me to make a difference to many people. Ke a leboga, Edgar's.
What do I like? Scoring a brand new set of wheels from Spa. There I was just chilling, picking up some stuff. The next thing I know, I'm styling in one of these. Hey, you've got to get there like yesterday, because they've got 30 to give away.
Plus great winter car specials like Lux Skincare Soap for only $2.59 and Omo Multi-Active Washing Powder for just $16.95.
Spa winter car rocks. Spa, good for you.
Spa, good for you.
Passionate about South African music? So is MTN. Which is why we're proudly bringing you the MTN South African Music Awards by encouraging musical expression and talent. So join us as we celebrate South African music and watch the MTN South African Music Awards live on SABC1. MTN, passionate about South African music.
Ma'am, did you buy Frisco?
Yes.
You know what? You've won yourself 1,000 rands just for buying Frisco. So if we spot you and you bought Frisco, we'll give you 1,000 rands on the spot. So get rich, get Frisco.
Your broker is taking a huge slice out of your insurance premium every month. Cut out your broker. Call Outsurance Direct and save up to 25%. For car, household and business insurance, call Outsurance on 08 600 60,000.